Hey, welcome back to the conversation I'm having with Marc Smith and Michael Robertson from JL King & Co. This is part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, then dive back into that. Otherwise, strap in, enjoy the finish of this episode. So, Simply Tasty, we touched on it then. Tell me, where did it come from? How did Simply Tasty start?
Simply Tasty, yeah. So we were in Moama, where we were doing the food manufacturing there. So we just basically unfolded it from there, added in some ovens and some kettles, some other bits and pieces, started cooking, and then really just evolved from there. So we were up in Moama up till about 2011, and then we moved that business back to Bendigo as we sort of started to see some growth. So 2011 in the McDougall Road, where we stayed right through to our latest move. So stayed there for built a new facility there. But by the time we'd moved out from Moama back to Bendigo, we'd already outgrown the facility. So
Wow.
we were already looking to expand, and so it was kept adding. It ended up a bit of a nightmare to operate out of because it was just all these little rooms. So we had to stop manufacturing some food, had to outsource that to be able to keep creating room.
Wow.
And then we were operating multiple sites too around Bendigo. I think at our peak we had 6 different sheds just storing stock and products that we just couldn't hold. So It was just a really challenging time through there to getting to the new site.
Yeah.
But the brand sort of unfolded. We had we'd come under the JL King banner for a long time, and then we decided we need to call this something.
Yeah.
And we engaged with a marketing company and had a look at what we had and come up with a heap of options. And there was about 10 of us got together and said, let's vote. We had 4 choices, and Simply Tasty was one of them. So that got the most votes at the time, and that's what we went with.
Love it. It's done well, and the brand stood up over the time that it's been.
Look, it is fairly new, obviously. It's probably only been around about 10 years now, but it's obviously going okay. But we've got a lot of work to do. We still got a lot of, we want to expand the brand a lot. So, we're pretty happy with where it's at today.
And so, talking about the product range at the moment, what have we got in production for Simply Tasty?
Yeah, so we got a range of our own brand product, and it crosses from salads, so basic mayonnaise salads that you'll see in delis, and also a pre-pack range. We do some gourmet style, and then some what we call leafy, where we'll do a chicken Caesar salads and those type of products that are more a kit form sold in delis. Mm-hmm. We have a oven bake range, which is things like scallop potatoes, sweet potato bakes, cauliflower, broccoli bakes, mac and cheese, all that type of thing. So they're products that will go through delis and sold either cold and then or hot through the hot box in the supermarkets. We do them in a retail pack as well. There's lasagnas, vegetable lasagna, and then then we go into a heap of just pasta dishes, Asian-style dishes. There's our Aussie pub grub, which is your parma and schnitzels, curried snag. So the range is quite diverse. There's a lot of different style dishes.
Yeah.
Probably too many. But so that's what we sit under Simply Tasty. We do a brand of Comco, which is IGA's private label brand. We've currently got 24 products for them we produce.
Right.
And then there's also a product in Woolworths that we manufacture as a salad as well, all up the east coast of Australia as a contract manufacturing job that we do as well.
How have you found the balance? There's a few questions going through my mind. The first thought is, Marc, it's going to take you a long time to go through all the product range and taste all of these these products. That's amazing. The first question I've got is, what do you think about and how do you approach new product development, and what drives the release of a new product?
Well, we've got an NPD team, and they work alongside quality, and probably all the management team will get together, discuss opportunities.
Yep.
We get presented with opportunities around other brands that are out in the market that are having capacity issues. So we get approached quite often to see whether we're interested in taking on that contract other people's brands. So we look at that with NPD quite a lot. That happens quite a bit. But in our own brands, we're a lot of it, we're talking to our clients. Also looking, obviously there's some studies that come out and look at market trends, what's in, what's out. Also do a lot of travelling around where possible, going overseas, looking at what's going on over there. We went to, I used to travel a lot with IGAs through twice a year, do different studies, one into America and one into Europe each year. And give you a bit of an idea, I went with one of the buyers at IGA into Chicago during the middle of winter, and we went into a supermarket and they had a lasagna soup, and they said, well, you make the best lasagna, we reckon, in Australia, so go back and we want lasagna soup. So we come back, made lasagna soup. No one really recognised it in Australia. We put it out in the market. It failed after 6 months. But that's the type of thing you do. I mean,
amazing.
You talk to the clients and work with the buyers, obviously, especially around with the supermarket groups, and ask them what they're looking for.
That blows my mind. If I ever get to Chicago, I'm getting hooked up with some lasagna soup.
It's a bit different. Yeah.
I also threw a curly one to Michael the other day around the smoked meats, because I obviously do a lot of the smoked meats and stuff like that. And said, we should be doing like a brisket and mash or something like that. And, maybe a pulled pork. A few products there that we can throw on the NPD pile and see what we can come up with.
I love it. Do you ever run out of that pile? Does that pile of ideas ever run low?
Not really. Like, I reckon I'd have 20 or 30 in my head right now that I'd love to do. But talking to the production team, I think you got to keep it to yourself a bit, because I suppose you got to manage it. And I mean, we're launching 6 new products for winter. Straight after Easter that'll come into the market. Some will work, some won't. Some you need to give a couple of years. They take time. But you got to keep bringing out products that aren't, give them enough time. But if they don't take off, keep replacing your tail of products and trying to. We only started making lasagna, like I said, because we needed something for the winter, happen in the winter to take the lull out of our business, and it ended up being our number one selling line. So it might have took 2 to 3 years to get there. But it was fairly quick. So.
What's the success rate of winners on NPD to ones that don't get taken up in the market?
I reckon early days for us, it would have been probably 50%, 60%. I reckon now it's more 10 to 15. I reckon it's a lot harder now. And I think because too, there's a lot more product or availability of this type of product in the market. So to come up with something that's a bit unique and out, that's not out there is not easy. Because there's a lot of range. And
I'm interested about any product inspiration that you got overseas or on any of these trips with IGA that turned out to be a really good winner. Do you often get ideas and things when you're tripping around?
Probably our leafy salad range was one that come from overseas, but it sort of had a bit of a peak, and it's not as busy as it used to be. But Deli's moved away from coleslaw potato pasta salad to try to get into something a little bit different for the shopper, because everybody's been doing the same stuff for years. So probably 2 or 3 years ago, that evolved a little bit, and the first 12 months it had really strong growth, and it's probably now that's just become the new norm, I suppose. Obviously lasagna soup was probably the biggest interesting one we sort of come across. And we did see a lot of different vegan style dishes, probably back in 2017, 18, which we didn't have a lot over here. So we did sort of dabble in that market for a while, but didn't have a lot of success. I mean, sales were okay without being brilliant. So
Actually, interesting one there. At the same time, 2017-18, I actually did a market research trip over to the US and went and visited some of the guys around the plant-based foods as well.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
there's one product there which is now well known around Australia.
Yeah.
But they had a product called Heme, which is part of their burger range to get the authentic taste. And it was amazing how close it was actually to a proper burger.
So Mark, what is heme?
Heme is like a protein or something that gives it that reddish sort of tinge.
Right.
And allows it to sort of potentially bleed like a burger does.
Wow.
So we went over there and caught up with, that was the Impossible Food team.
Yeah.
And so we were sort of talking about the opportunity to bring them into Australia, but because heme is actually genetically modified, couldn't actually do it at the time. So they've now redone their recipe so that there's no genetically modified into their food there. But it was just interesting that it was sort of doing the same plant-based thing, and I was working in a meat food manufacturing business at the time. So
that's when I got introduced to things like a prawn. You thought it was a prawn, ate it, and you thought it was a prawn, but it wasn't a prawn.
Yeah,
so, it was. There was lots of different things sort of starting to unfold in that space at that time.
And that's the thing with innovation. Like there's people out there that are thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the track of what the next thing might be, and coming up with these ideas. And a lot of them, they come too early and people can't commercialise them. And then you sort of go, well, now it is commercialised and now it is there. But we're talking 9 years ago that we were actually looking at these sorts of things, and it's taken them another 5, 6, 7 years to actually get into the market properly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fascinating. And how closely do you look at trends like that? There's some macro trends like, veganism, for example. It's been a fairly long trend that had some big highs. But now there's huge trends in, carnivore diets. It's like all the way the other direction.
It's amazing. 10 years ago we were talking about the emergence of the vegan and, opportunities around meals and food in that space. And now we're looking at the trends. The trends telling us it's actually in decline. The market's now in decline. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, protein. Things just continually change, and I suppose it's really hard to. You've got to sort of stick to your spot a little bit. I think. For us, Simply Tasty, we need to be mindful that we're just trying to make good, simple, hearty food that's good portion sizes that. Someone that can sit down, eat it and go, I'm full and I enjoyed that and I've had plenty to eat. So we do got to keep that in mind whenever we're doing any NPD. It's interesting to see. We do follow, obviously look a lot of like the IBIS reports and stuff like that and what's going on and what other businesses are doing. And it's certainly a challenge. We're actually looking to recruit someone new into our business at the moment from with a fair bit of experience around NPD as well to assist us. We probably identify that as a bit of a gap, and that's taking nothing away from the chefs that are working in our business. But now we want to probably get somebody that's been in a bit more larger scale manufacturing and see if we can move them into Bendigo and get them to take up a role and sort of assist us a little bit in that space.
How wide are you spreading that net? I know the scale of business that you run has a bit more of an ability to maybe spread a wider net, but how wide do you need to spread it? What kind of talent is out there for NPD specialists?
We interviewed someone out of Perth to move across on Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So we put it nationally.
Yep.
Yeah. So, not sure where it'll end up yet, but we are looking for potentially someone out of Bendigo that's had experience in a larger scale.
Yeah.
Especially be great around food manufacturing, ready meals and salads especially. So, And
one of the things there is attracting that right talent to build that top team.
Yeah.
We've got some amazing people in the business already, but we want to make sure that we identify those gaps and skills that we need to take us to that next level and make sure that we've got the scalability to put, as I said, the high quality meals out in a manufacturing facility to get the best we can do, cost effective. As we say, like the economy at the moment, people are watching their dollars and cents. So we've got to make sure that whatever we put out there is going to be cost effective, and people will continue to buy it because they know it's a great meal, they know they can afford it, and we're able to put that product out there and be proud of it.
I've got an interest that I've got an interest in hospitality and how hospitality businesses run. There is, I think, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, there's some crossover in terms of the challenge that you have in wanting to produce a really high quality, really tasty meal, but also doing that, especially for your products, at a scale that is profitable, is efficient, and has really low waste. How do you manage and is there any temptation to go like a much cheaper manufactured route, or how do you balance that desire for a great quality product, but it has to be profitable?
It's really interesting because sometimes everybody in business receives really good feedback and sometimes not so good. And, you know, you're talking about garlic prawn fettuccine, which is probably our number one selling ready meal. You know, it comes with 4 prawns, 400 gram serving, you know, probably at $8.99, $9.99 per serve. So, you know, that could be manufactured here, picked and packed, put on a truck, sent to Perth. Somebody goes in and grabs it at that price. Then, yeah, to think at $9, there's a lot of stuff, and the retailers, you know, they're chasing a 40% GP. So, you know, wow. Your net price back to us can be challenging. So
it's really small.
Yeah. So it's all about building volumes are key.
Yeah.
So large, you know, when you do a run of it, you're doing thousands, not hundreds. So and that's what we've got to keep growing the business into that. So grow the business by probably less SKUs but higher volume, so more retailers to have the product.
Yeah,
that's sort of where we need to get to make it to be scaling it correctly. I don't want to scale 75 products into 175.
Yeah,
for the, you know, and just purely for the fact of trying to build on volume. So so that's up to us now to get out there and market the product and get more people to take it on board.
Yeah.
And again, looking at what's working well, what's not. And as you say, if it's not profitable to do because you start doing smaller volumes and things like that, and your labour blows out, your costs blow out, your clean downs, all that sort of stuff. So by the time you sort of get through that and do your costing of that product, it doesn't become viable. So you've got to delete it and, again, focus on where the volume is and how we expand that volume from an overall perspective.
One great opportunity that I have heard you're leveraging already is contract manufacturing. How important has offering your capacity and capability to other brands been as opposed to just manufacturing your own product and your own brand?
Well, we'd be struggling to survive without it. So that's the reality. To build, because we had capacity, we need to fill it. So, and you know, contract manufacturing is probably higher runs, lower margin, but it's it's recovering overheads, help contribute to the power costs, help contribute to the gas, you know, all those types of things. So, it's been a massive thing for us. So it's been great that IGA, you know, understood that we were a fairly reasonable supplier in their network and gave us the opportunity. So that's why they give us. We now do all their Italian range in their own label. There's the sides, private label sides, and then they recently, only 2 weeks ago, started a whole new contract with their classic range. So they're coming to us quite regularly about offering different opportunities, and we'll continue to build and leverage on opportunities around contract manufacturing. I think it's going to be really important for us to assist us to grow overall.
Tell me about the food manufacturing industry as a whole in Australia, but even more locally in Victoria, how big is food manufacturing as an industry? Do you know everyone? Is it fairly tight? Is it highly competitive?
It is reasonably competitive, yeah, for sure. But that's probably more retailer-led rather than from a manufacturing point of view. And I'll go back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, that opportunities always arise because a lot of startup companies will go and will get a brand out there, and it only takes a few retailers to pick up that brand. All of a sudden they're scaling, and they quickly outgrow where they're manufacturing from. But knowing that what we know now, the cost to build one of these facilities, is not cheap. And especially I wouldn't like to be buying land down in Melbourne or Sydney and trying to build. I mean, it was
heavens no,
was hard enough here. But we actually look at where we're geographically located in Bendigo. From us, we run our own semis into Adelaide. We're 7 hours over there dropping off. Our semis are up into the farms into Virginia, reload and produce, all for our meals and our produce business, bringing that back. We actually think being located where we are is good, although there's some great businesses, food manufacturing businesses in and around Bendigo. Obviously Hazeldene's, as we know.
Yeah.
Was Moira Max now, Hellas. There's Don KR down the road. Then you head up into Echuca, there's Simplot. But everyone's there's no one really competing in probably in our space as such around, in meals. There's a couple of manufacturers in Melbourne. Obviously McCain's all down in Ballarat, but that's a little bit different. Frozen meals, we're not really playing in that space either.
Yeah, right.
Salads, we compete against. We've got a major competitor in Brisbane, one in Sydney, and then there's probably us.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're probably one of into the independents. We would do majority of nearly all salads in Victoria and South Australia. Yeah. So
really only talking of a handful, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, look, like I said, it's going to become food manufacturing. I think will become a little bit more challenged as the cost of building alone continues to rise, and then you start to talk about trying to fit them out with plant and equipment. It's really quite frightening, and I think businesses in our space will become less and less, but there may be more brands around marketing. So people will do micro brands around, which will be just marketing companies, but will look to have somebody do the hard work for them. And we know what that's all about.
The other part about competition is, again, when you look at your locals, is that competition for labour. So you're always competing with trying to get good people into your business. So you are competing with those manufacturers, even though they're not competitive in the sense of ready meals and things like that. But there's also opportunities to work together on various projects. And that's probably the best part about being such a close-knit community and knowing who the manufacturers are and that sort of stuff, and going, okay, if I want to do a wrap or something like that, then you've got a number of providers there that could actually supply locally to help us with a meal opportunity there. And so we can sort of sit there and work and leverage our connections to come up with new ideas and different products and that side of things. But that competition can also work. I worked on a project a number of years ago where we were having issues with people not turning up to work.
Wow.
So we actually got, through the Bendigo Manufacturing Group, we actually got together and said, right, how do we actually help solve everyone's problems? And we were able to come up with some solutions to say, okay, we need to address this in this way to help people come to work and make sure that they're turning up for their shifts and that sort of thing. So it is a good ecosystem there with like the likes of the Bendigo Manufacturing Group and Bendigo and those sort of ones where the business community comes together.
Yeah, to solve common challenges, right? Yeah, love it. It's somewhat astonishing when you look at the scale of we're a small country, but spread over a very large landmass. It is pretty astonishing to see the number of manufacturers that there are. I would have expected, and I've had a little bit of insight into this industry before, but I would have expected there to be more, to be honest. Yep. What have you seen in comparison with overseas industries? Did you get any insight into food manufacturing scales and the number of players in different industries overseas?
Yeah, look, I suppose it's vast and varying depending on where but obviously the population is so different when we get overseas. So, there's I go and visit the International Dairy and Bakery show that happens over in America each year, and you see purely around salad manufacturers over there, and a lot of them travel from all over the country into there, and it's massive. Like and they got massive ranges, but when you talk about their numbers and what they do, I think it's quite phenomenal. So they're big facilities, because the amount of mouths they got to feed through those countries is a lot different than what we're used to. So.
It's huge. It's huge. From the business, what it looked like when you started and to what it is now, can you cast your mind back and unpack a few of the challenges that you were able to learn from or overcome and hold as really, really, what do you hold as important lessons that you've learned through those that you operate with today?
Yeah, obviously people is a big thing.
Yeah.
In any business, if you need people, and if you've got a business of size that employs a number of people, you need to be building the right team around you is important, and then managing that team, and then trying to we've really enjoyed over the years upskilling people, and try to promote within where you can, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, but especially the younger generation, I'm looking at it now thinking, what's next? Like for me, I've got got a few years left into me, but we need the next generation coming through. But certainly the big challenge and the big learning for me is just around, the importance of your people and making sure that that we're looking after them, and then we're trying to bring them in, and to have as much involvement and get them to understand everything that's going on just on a day-to-day basis, and their challenges that we face as owners. Because I think Marc had a conversation to me last week. You always look at things a bit different. He's only been there 4 weeks. He said, you're looking at, what'd you tell me? You're looking at, I'm looking at it from from at my side, like for somebody that's going there every day and doing their job, it's all emotion to me because it means so much, I suppose, I gather. There's much more involved for me, and our feelings are quite different, and I can be a little bit over the top and quite passionate to the people at times, and sometimes people probably take that the wrong way.
Whereas I take a very systematic approach and try and look at, okay, what do we need to solve? What are the issues? How are we going to do it? What actions do we need to take? Really plan it out to say, right, let's solve this long term. Whereas something goes wrong, Michael goes, what's going on? I need this fixed now. And it's because he's so emotionally involved as an owner, and quite rightly so, because you need that passion. But then long term, how do we actually solve it so that we can actually take some of that stuff off Michael, so that he's not having to worry about things, and you build that trust in the business that he knows he can go away and not have to worry about what's going on in the business, because if he goes away and has to worry, he doesn't have a break at all, and he comes back, he's not refreshed, and then he's got to deal with all these things again. So really setting up those systems and processes and trying to get everyone to be accountable, making sure that we actually achieve what we say we're going to do is going to be really important moving forward, because we want to make sure that Michael and Dee can actually get a bit of a holiday and know that they come back and there's no issues when they come. Oh, there might be a few, but not as many as they would face on a regular basis. So,
and we've got now 25-year plus employees.
Yeah, wow.
So, and we're really, pretty proud about that. And they're not just employees; they're basically friends. And it's great. We can have all this banter and muck around, and everyone knows, what's. But so we've been really lucky that side, but probably more in the manufacturing space is probably more challenging around staff and getting them to, depending on the roles, varying roles. So you've got to really, I think for us moving forward, a challenge is making sure that we've got the right staff in the right areas and trying to put some time into upskill them, because I'm not the person, I can't do, one challenge we've probably got right now is we probably need some more chefs, but not just chefs, but get them trained up in that manufacturing of large scale chefing. And that can't come from me. So we need to make sure that we're giving them, or we're resourcing them and teaching them, giving them opportunities to train and upskill them to be able to work into the roles. But look, that's always been the biggest thing for me, has been around people, making sure that we're always trying to do the right thing, and I don't begrudge anybody that comes through and uses us as a stepping stone to be better, And we have staff. I've got one of them going when we leave here today. We've got a sales lady who's finishing up today, who's moving on. She come across as a Victorian state manager with a company now. She took on a national role. She got to meet a lot of people all over Australia through who we were supplying, and now she gets to go back, and keep moving her way through. So we're not upset that she's going. We hope that, and we know that she's really thankful of what we've been able to achieve, and we're thankful of what she's done on her journey through the business as well. So.
It's really important to have that kind of looser grip on, the people that flow in and out of your business. I can hear that. As you scale to a large business, was there ever a point where you felt like you couldn't hold all of the pieces, like you couldn't be across everything? And was it ever, what were some of those key roles that you were able to bring in so to alleviate that?
Probably to today, I probably still hold on to too much. So I probably, I've got to start to learn at some stage to let go a bit more. Getting to the new factory probably made me want to keep more of a hold, because you want to make sure that things are going to do what you want them to do and what your expectations are. So to say that I've let go of some bits and pieces, I'm probably got a fair way to go still in that space.
Right. Your capacity hasn't been quite reached yet to the point where you need to offload some.
No. Look. To be honest, life's busy. But I like being busy. I wouldn't have taken on the challenge if I didn't want to be busy. So I enjoy it. I love the I love what we do every day, although, it's challenging and, it's tough at times, but, I still thrive to get up every day and go, well, that's yesterday's problem. Let's move on and, let's solve that today and move on to the next one. So,
Marc, what are some of the lessons that you've learned across your time in a plethora of businesses and experience that you're excited to bring to JL King?
Yeah, I think one of the main ones is trying to take some of that stuff off Michael. I think getting that structure around there, because just as an example, last night I had, 20 emails from Michael ranging between 7 o'clock at night through to about 12 was the last one. So when you start looking at that sort of stuff and going, okay, well, how do we actually make sure we've got the right team structure around it so that we do take some stuff off him and he can focus on that growth of the business. And the two things that Michael should be focusing on, sales growth and the culture, because they're the things he does really well. So the other stuff, we've got to start looking at how we actually build the team around and make sure that we can get that comfort for him to there. But systems and processes for me, repeatability, to really understand what we can actually achieve across the business. There's a lot of data in our business. We need to structure that a little bit better as well, so that we can actually make good decisions again around that manufacturing side of things. Are products profitable if we're having to ship them and most of our sales are to Western Australia or something like that? What happens to the freight component of that, and then how we actually manage that cost and that side of things. So there's a lot of analytical work that we want to do. So really going through the core of that manufacturing process, understanding stage by stage for each product, working through the labour efficiencies, trying to put it all together to make sure we've got a good handle on what we're doing and how we're doing it. Providing good information for Michael and Dee and that to make decisions that are going to benefit the business long term.
Marc, is this a bit of a dream role? It seems like it was almost, you've had some great experience in food, you've had some great experience in manufacturing, and this seems like it's kind of bringing it all together.
Well, it is, yeah. So I had 10 years food manufacturing experience in a similar role as well. So I've been able to bring all of that knowledge, but also through the consulting work I've been doing for the last 2.5 years, I've been involved in various businesses at different projects and things like that. So understanding how to get those improvements and talking to the owners around what they were looking to achieve, I'm able to bring that sort of stuff to the business as well. So we've already started working on what the next strategy looks like and how that's going to be to get the level of growth that we're after, and where's that going to come from, what are the key things. So looking at things like sustainability. They've got some great projects working with sustainability. So there's some solar projects and stuff that we want to expand on. There's already solar throughout every part of the roof already, but things like putting a roof over the car park and actually putting solar panels onto there. So we've got some government grant applications for that sort of stuff. There's packaging and things like that. There's some sustainability work being done there. So there's an exciting one coming up. I'm not sure when that will be coming out, but there's some stuff that's been happening there, and that will go on to improving the label and that of the product as well. So
love it.
There is some really exciting stuff there, and it's culminated into this role, and it does seem very perfect. And I'm really excited to be part of the future of what's happening.
It's pretty exciting to have JL King in Bendigo and to see what you've done with it and see where it continues to grow to. It's coming alongside some, as you mentioned earlier, some really big names in food manufacturing in our region, and you're doing great things. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some of your very valuable time sharing the story and the growth of the business and where it's going. I really appreciate you being here.
Good on you. Really appreciate the chat. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Caleb.
Well, that's it on today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you are listening, then please make sure that you follow the show, Remarkable Regional Business Podcast, so that you get new updates on when we release episodes. We've got a lot of limited series coming up, so don't miss out on those. And if you are watching, that's right, this podcast is video as well. If you are watching this episode, then please, on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the little bell so you know when the next episode is dropping. That'd be so good. And please, the last thing I want to ask you is, do you know a